What's going on YouTube? It's Joey back with another GPP video for NFL Week 4 on Draftkings. In this video today, I will be going over some of my favorite plays, stacks, leverage plays, and ultimately how I think you should be building your tournament lineups for GPPs on Draftkings in Week 4. But before we get into the video, you can help us out by making sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're at like 256 subscribers, so let's try and get to 300. And if you like this style of video and want to see these videos every week, make sure you drop a like as well. Also, you could check out the full DFS Dose podcast on all podcast platforms. We release 2 episodes per week. Those episodes are breaking down each slate, and then we recap each slate on Monday. So our week 3 recap is up. We go over interesting stats, interesting storylines, and our personal results. So now that we have the plugs out of the way, let's talk about NFL Week 4 on DraftKings from a tournament perspective. So first, we're going to take a look at some of the highest total games on the slate. You could see that Kansas City and Philadelphia have a total of 55, which is the highest on the slate. And then we have Cardinals, Rams at 53, Browns and Vikings at 52, Seahawks and 49ers at 52, and the Chargers and Raiders at 52.5 as well. So we have some decently high totaled games on this slate for DraftKings, and I think there are plenty of teams that are going to be in consideration for stacking in tournaments. So now that we're back on DraftKings, we're going to take a look at some of the players in those high totaled games and see where we should be going in tournaments. As always, the Chiefs are the best stack on the board. They're the highest upside stack, in my opinion, with Mahomes at 8,100, Tyreek Hill at 8,000, and Travis Kelce at 8,100. So they are all the highest priced players, at their respective positions. So it's a very expensive stack, and it's obviously going to go under-owned as it is every single week. I just don't know if Philadelphia will be able to keep pace with the Chiefs in this spot, and they could get out to a big lead early, but if they're getting out to a big lead, that means they're scoring a bunch of points, so it would work. So I don't mind the Chiefs stack. You can always go there. Nothing needs to be said about the Chiefs. They're great every single week. Now, for tournaments specifically, like the Millie Maker and other large field lottery style GPPs, you want to be playing more contrarian than usual. In week 3, it was a Josh Allen double stack that won the Millie Maker. It was very low owned. And then in week 2 and week 1, they both had low owned lineups winning. And I think we could see this trend continue as the season goes on, where, a lot of these contrarian stacks from high-powered offenses are going to be the difference makers in your tournament lineups. So I just want to keep my exposure to these quarterbacks and their respective teams that can separate from the field easily. And what I mean by separate from the field is a guy like Josh Allen has, a 40-point ceiling. As we saw last week against Washington, 4 touchdowns. He ran the ball, scored a rushing touchdown. And I just don't think any of these guys lower in the quarterback pool are in play just because they don't have that 40-point ceiling. Yeah, you might run good and get like a 25 Daniel Jones game or a 25-point Mayfield game, but those guys don't have the ceiling to separate from the field like a Josh Allen or like a Patrick Mahomes or Kyler Murray or whomever at the top. So I think in tournaments, that's kind of where you want to live, is at the top of the quarterback pool, and then just find the value at other positions, because sacrificing upside at the quarterback position is a stone cold way to guarantee yourself a losing day on DraftKings. So just to sum up the quarterback position, I'm mostly going to keep my ownership to these guys at the top with Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, Murray, etc., even Jalen Hurts, I think are in play, and Dak Prescott too, who I think is very underpriced, albeit the Cowboys look to be running the ball every single play now, which is unfortunate, but he's definitely in play. And these guys at the top are definitely my favorite guys. I don't have a lean up to this point. If I had to pick one, it would probably be Russ just go back to the well in a great spot against a Niners defense that is fielding, just stone cold bums in their secondary right now after some injuries. So Russ will be my lean, but I'm definitely going to have exposure and stacks of all 4 of these quarterbacks, all 5 of these top end guys on week 4. At the running back position, we're seeing the mid-range dominate a lot in these tournaments, and I think that's where you want to live at again for GPPs, just because the top end guys, Christian McCaffrey's out, so he's not in play. Kamara hasn't been great so far to start the season. I mean, Dalvin Cook at 8,100 will probably be a stone lock if he plays, but these guys just aren't separating from the field right now, and you can get elite volume out of these mid-range running backs. Prime example, Najee Harris, who saw 19 targets in week 3, the second most targeted running back game of all time, second to Alvin Kamara. So if Najee Harris is getting this usage, he's always in play. And then you have Zeke at 6,500, who, like I just mentioned, the Cowboys want to run the ball a lot, and we've been seeing it over the last couple of weeks. And we had a nice bounce back game from Zeke, and he looks pretty solid at 6,500. And then you have a bunch of these guys who I think are underpriced for their touch projection and their roles in their offenses. DeAndre Swift is a PPR monster. Like, if you're getting 7 targets out of your running back for 6,200, I think he's fine. Just the way I want to approach running backs in general on DraftKings is I want to correlate them with my wide receivers or my game stacks. So let's say if I'm stacking up the Panthers, for example, in week 4, and I run a Darnold to DJ Moore stack, I'm going to correlate that stack with Ezekiel Elliott and just hope the game script works out in favor of the way I built the stack, with Zeke getting a lot of touches, the Cowboys getting ahead, and the Panthers having to come from behind and throw the ball quite a bit. So that's really how I'm just approaching the running back position. I will also correlate running backs with their defenses in tournaments, just because if the defense is balling out, that means the team is likely in the lead, which means more touches for the running back as they grind the clock out. But I don't really have any preferred GPP plays at this point in the week. I think the pricing is a little bit tighter than weeks before, so definitely going to have to tune into the podcast and our Saturday night live stream on this YouTube channel if you want to hear my updated thoughts. But as it stands right now, the mid-range looks to be the range that everybody should go to, and I think is the best range to target for GPPs, unless you want to target, a guy like Nyheim Hines at 4,900, who you could see, or, some of these other scrubs that I probably won't play. But yeah, if you want to win a tournament, you're going to have to stay in this mid-range. These guys at the lower end just are not good. Do not play them. At the wide receiver position, I think it's hard to get away from some of these guys in the mid to top range. Like Cooper Kupp, I think, is unfadable at this point in any format of fantasy football. Just seeing an elite target share right now, 35%. As you can see, he's been going off, just absolutely snapping. Cooper Kupp is. So at 7,800, he's certainly in play, and so is a Ram stack. I think the Seahawks guys are probably some of my favorite GPP plays on the board, just because they're going to come in with lower ownership because of some of the guys that they're around, and they are pretty expensive still, so you're not getting a discount. And you can easily pair them with Russ, who is 7,100. So I love a Russ to DK or Russ to Lockett stack in this spot. And there's some bringbacks at wide receiver with Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel is pretty expensive, so I would go with Ayuk at 5K, who is very cheap. Or you can, correlate it with the Niners running back if you think the Niners are going to be in the lead. So I like those two guys for tournaments, but this mid-range is loaded with CeeDee Lamb, 6,700. DJ Moore, I think, is a standout play at 6,600. Amari Cooper at 6K, I think, is very cheap. And I think that's one game that isn't going to get a lot of ownership, is this Carolina and Dallas game. So I think there's some leverage to be had here, especially with the Cowboys not airing it out over the last 2 weeks, and we've seen Zeke and Tony Pollard, get a lot of touches, and CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper have kind of taken a back seat in these last 2 games. I think this is a game where there's some sneaky shootout potential with a 52 or 50-point total. And I think some of these guys will go under on, like Amari Cooper, Robbie Anderson, CeeDee Lamb, just because of the other players they're around. So I think this is a game stack that definitely provides leverage in GPPs for week 4. The tight end position is horrible. Once again, it's just so bad. So I would just look to punt at this spot, correlate it as part of your game stack. So I like referencing Russell Wilson stack. So if you want, you could play Gerald Everett at 3,200 as part of your double stack, which is a salary saver. And that's just how I would view the tight end position. Like I would just include them with whatever quarterback you are playing on DraftKings. So, if you're playing Matt Ryan, play Kyle Pitts. If you're playing Matt Stafford, play Tyler Higbee. Noah Fant would probably be a better one-off option just because of Teddy Bridgewater's limited ceiling, and same goes for some of these other guys as well. But yeah, tight ends, I would definitely look to just have them be part of a game stack or, stacking up with your quarterback. Don't really have any preferred plays. I think Evan Ingram at 3K is interesting, but the Giants are horrible. So if I'm paying down, I'm probably looking to Evan Ingram in this spot as Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton are hurt, and he had 6 targets in this game. So if you're paying down, you're probably going to Evan Ingram and GPPs, which I don't hate, but you can get leverage off of that just by going to some of these other guys, but they're all stone cold scrubs. So I think just for tournament lineups this week, you're probably going to want to stay in the mid-range. Again, it's been working over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and tournaments is just building a balanced lineup that has upside at the quarterback position. So like I mentioned, you want to target one of these top guys. They will probably be in the Millie winner again. At the running back spot, you just want to get touches and targets, as many of them as you can. And there's plenty of running backs that offer that upside in this 55 to 6,500 range, so you could save salary at the position just because we haven't seen, Henry, Kamara, CMC, Cooks separate from the field as much this year. And, Derrick Henry definitely can in this spot at 8,800. So I like him, and the Titans should dominate this game. So obviously Henry is a GOAT play any single week, but you don't have to go there. You can get, 25 touches out of Najee Harris and 30 out of Derrick Henry for $2,000 cheaper. So definitely would stay in the mid-range. At running back, at wide receiver, you're going to want to play some of these top guys. Like I think Diggs is a phenomenal play, and the Bills stack is a great play this week as well, at home against Houston, worst team in the NFL. So that should be easy cash. And this Rams and Cardinals game is going to be the chalky game that everybody goes to, and rightfully so. But the Rams secondary has been good against opposing wide receivers, and they've been kind of bad against opposing running backs. So I would consider a Rams stack with a bring back of like Chase Edmonds, who I think should see decent work in this spot. And then some of the cheaper Cardinals guys at wide receiver like Rondale Moore, who's 4,600, AJ Green 4,500 if you want to go there, and Christian Kirk is 5,300, which all of those guys are interesting. I don't think I would stack up D-Hop with a Ram stack, just because, if you're stacking the Rams, you're probably playing Cooper Kupp, so you're going to need to save salary, and I would save salary on my Cardinals bring back wide receiver. So my top stacks on the board this week in order would be the Bills number 1, just because of Josh Allen's massive ceiling. I love Stephon Diggs this week at 7,600. I think he's due for a big game. Number 2 would be the Rams stack with Kupp, Higbee, and Woods. You should be able to get some leverage on the field with Woods after he's been busting the last couple of games, and Higbee is in a great matchup as well with a solid price at $4,600, as you could see right here. So I love the Ram stack as my number 2 stack. My number 3 stack that I like would be the Seahawks stack. So Russ, DK/Lockett with Gerald Everett. And then number 4 would be the Cowboys/Panthers game stack. I think that game could go underlooked and under-owned this week. So those are my 4 favorite stacks. 1 Buffalo, 2 Rams, 3 Seahawks, 4 Dallas, Carolina game stack. But that is going to be it for the video. I hope you guys got some valuable information out of this. If you enjoyed the video, like I said at the top, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. It helps us out a ton. Leave a like on the video, and if you want, you could join our free Discord down below in the description. We talk about DraftKings every single day, and if you want, you could check out the DFS Dose podcast, which is also linked in the description. I'll be back next Wednesday, as always, for the NFL Week 5 breakdown. You could check out Ben's cash pool video on Friday, where he breaks down his favorite cash game plays, and then you could check out the DFS Dose Week 4 preview podcast, which comes out on Thursday. That is going to be it, though. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys win all of the money on Sunday. Let's have a great week, and I will see you guys in the lobby. Peace.